ready to get some meat. Eat some deer meat, eat some tenderloin. I'm gonna do a video for you guys too. So I'm out of freezer space, had a freezer go out at the house. Don't have any freezer space, so I'm gonna do a video you guys and show you how I'm gonna process this deer in the pressure cooker. Put it in jars. And you just set it on the shelf. Don't have to worry about it. Anyway, good deer there. Part's done. There's our meat. Take it inside the house. Alright guys, got it all quartered up inside. Fixing to start cleaning this up. We'll start with these two little tenderloins right here. I'm just going to cut this little bit of fat off. That's good on that one. Size pieces. Leave that one like that. Look at this one. Do the same thing here. Alright, before we go any farther, a little bit of silver skin there on that one. Let's get that off. Before we go any farther, we're going to take all this right over here. We're cooking. Alright guys, there's the finished product. Just to enjoy. The best part right here. Even gonna be enough left for breakfast in the morning. Anyway guys, I'm gonna enjoy this. Sit down and catch your news. Enjoy this, and then I'm gonna get here and finish processing the rest of this meat. Get it ready to go in the canner. Then we'll go to bed and it'll all be cooled off and ready to pack up and take to the house tomorrow. I'm just gonna sit here and do this, guys, and I'll jump in, show you. We'll pull some of them ham muscles out and get them done. But only thing I'm going to do, the tenderloins, I'm going to clean all the silver skin off the back of those loins. I'm going to stake them up. Those will go into those will go home and run through my tenderizer, and then vacuum sealed, and they'll go in the freezer, and we'll eat them as steaks or throw them on the smoker. Awesome way to eat one of these loins, but I'm gonna go ahead and steak both of these up completely, and everything else will go in the pressure canner. We're gonna a little section got some good meat on it, but the silver skin, we're gonna throw it into our canning pot, and like I said, we're gonna come in here and stake this up. Little piece area of silver skin there, I'll go under it just to clean off of that. Good piece of steak there, good meat on it. We'll put it in that pressure can pile. Alright, there we go. There's a good pile of steaks there, and like I said, those will go in the pressure canner. Let's go ahead and get this other tenderloin cleaned up, and we'll get it put up and out of the way. Alright guys, there's our pile of steaks. That's all the steaks we're going to be getting out of it. Like I said, I'll take them to the house. I'm just going to put them in a baggie for now, put them in the refrigerator. I'll take them to the house, run them through my tenderizer, and get them vacuum sealed. But this right here is absolutely my favorite piece of processing equipment that I have. Actually, my father bought this thing probably back in the 80s, and I still got it. But tenderizing them steaks, especially as I get older and start having a few problems with my teeth, this thing right here, I just run it through twice. Run them through one way, and then I turn them cross section, run them through a second way, and man, does that thing make a difference. Look at that. If I run this thing through one more time, you pretty much gotta grind. Next step's pretty cool too, guys. Got the vacuum sealer. Now just take and drop about 6 pieces is usually what I put in each package. There we go, vacuum sealed, ready to freezer last for a long time. Both these hams and this neck and that last shoulder are all going to be processed into small cube pieces to go in those jars here in a little bit. All right, guys. So next a good example of why I like this method. You know, really about all you can do with the neck is make a roast out of it. But using this canning method, all you have to do is cut that meat off of that neck, and all you got to watch for is your glands, your lymph nodes. Any wild game you process, you want to make sure you get those. Don't get those in the food product. But you don't have to worry about what you're cutting, how you're cutting. anything like that with this process, you just peel that meat off of that neck. And this area right here, you got that yellow fat area. Just go down behind it. You don't want any of that in there. But we're going to try to get all this meat we can get off here. That little piece there is going to be fine. Alright, we're going to call that good there. Any of these little sections like this you come across where those muscles join, those veins go through there, you'll want to cut that little section out of there. You don't want that in your food either. So we'll just cut that little section where those come together out right there. That'll go into our scrap pile, and these two pieces will go into our jars here in a little bit. Alright, we're going to lay this neck over to the side, and you still that right there. If you got a saw, you can chunk that up right there, and that'd be great for a pot of beans or soup. Still a lot of meat on there that you'd be able to boil off. For right now, what we're doing, we've got about all that I want to get off here off. And with what's left here, again, these little areas where all these veins and stuff come together, we don't want those in there. But little areas of silver skin like this is not a big deal. So we're just going to come in here and start chunking this up into manageable pieces that we'll be able to get into our jars. Alright guys, same thing on the ham. We want to clean the outside of it up where we got any hairs or blood or anything on it. You can, pull some of that silver skin off there, but it's not, again, I'll get what's easy to get, but I don't really spend a lot of time trying to get that silver skin off whenever I am canning it. And again, if I was staking this up, I'd really want to be precise on my muscle groups and try to keep my muscles intact for the steak. Whenever I'm canning it, it's a lot quicker because it doesn't matter. So all I'm doing is taking that meat off the bone. Doesn't matter how. Don't have to worry about those muscle groups because the whole thing is going to get cubed up into steak. So right there is a big chunk. Guys, another nice thing about this method, since we're not going to be staking any of this ham up, if you were staking it, you'd want to be real tedious about your muscle groupings, keeping your muscle groupings intact, because that's where your steaks come from. Cutting across the grain and all that when you make your steaks. All we got to do here now is just clean the outside of this up a little bit where we got some hair on it. Any bloody spots, we'll get that silver skin that's easy to get off of there real quick. We'll get it off that outside edge. It takes the hair off as well. But one thing that's nice about this method, since we're not, since we aren't doing steaks with it, we're putting it all into the jars in the pressure canner. All we needed is cubed up into pieces that'll fit into those jars. So we don't have to be real tedious about keeping those muscle groups together, and just time it's faster. So here, just within a minute after I get this cleaned up, here in a minute we're going to have this whole deer deboned, or this whole quarter deboned. All we're going to do is just slice down the bone and fillet right down the edge of that bone, get that piece of meat off there. Same thing here, just go back in there and find that bone, just fillet down the edge of it. We're not worried about keeping those muscles together, so we just want to get this off the bone to where we can clean it and get it cut up to go into our jars. This whole section right here is where all those veins run through that hind quarter there. We're just going to go ahead and grab it while we're here. Cut all those veins out of there. Right there's a gland. You always want to make sure that you get those scent glands out of any wild animal that you're processing. You don't want that to go into your food. Again, not worried about how that muscle weighs or anything. Just getting it off deboned. And then cleaned up just a little bit to go into our jars. Normally I'd take these legs, these feet off of here as well, but I didn't have a saw with me, so I just cut the joints out on the hips and just gonna work around it. There we go, guys. About got all that usable meat off of there. That piece go right in there. All right. And all we got left is this shoulder. Just gonna clean it up where it's bloody from the shot. Gotta get what's easy to get off there, to get some of that, what little bit of hair and dirt we got on there as well. And again, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how those muscles lay in there. We just need to get that meat off the bone. So we're just gonna come in here and cut that meat off the bone real quick. Alright guys, so we got a pile of it there. That's everything deboned. Now all we got to do is clean up. Now all we got to do is just come in here and clean up what little pieces we missed already, and chunk it up into pieces that'll fit in our jars. Alright guys, so the difficult part's done now. We've got all of our meat cubed up, ready to go into our jars. We've got our jars sitting here. We got some quart and some pints. I'm gonna use both, just trying to get rid of some older jars. Need to get rid of, so if we need more, we can get them out here. You want to make sure you have the regular lids or the wide lids, whatever you need. These are going to be regular lids here. Those will be the wide lids. We've got both of them ready to go. We went ahead and moved the pressure cooker over here to the stove. Only thing left, I want to add about 1 inch of water in the bottom of it. This pan ought to get us to the level we want. Don't want just a whole lot of water in the bottom of it. About 1 inch, that's going to be about right there. I've already got the stove turned on, got it heating up. You don't want to do this a long time before you get your jars packed and ready to go in. You don't want to put your cold jars into that hot water, or it could break them. We're going to set this other pot over here to the side, and we'll use it to get our lids hot before we put them on the jars. That's really all there is. It's going to be heating up while we get our jars ready. Once we get our jars full, we're going to put them in here and get our pressure built up where I'm at, depending on where you're at on sea level. You get your pressure built up to the pressure that you need. We're going to go up to 10, We're going to get it to hold on 10. At the point that it starts holding on 10, we're going to start our timer, and we're going to cook this meat for 90 minutes. Once 90 minutes is up, held on 10 pounds of pressure, we can turn the heat off, let it cool down naturally, and then we'll get up in the morning, take everything out. The only thing left, guys, is to put the meat in the jars. You don't want to add water. You don't want to add. The only thing that I'm going to add to it, a little bit of seasoning. I like using this Better Than Bouillon beef seasoning. You can just use bouillon cubes, or if you like a certain seasoning like Tony Chachere's, or strawberries, salt and pepper. Just up to you. Just going to be preference. So we'll get this. We'll get our jars filled up, and then we'll go back in and we'll put 1 spoonful on the top of each of these jars. One thing you can do too, guys, you can add, if you want to add, I've done it in the past. I like doing it. I don't have any up here. I would do it tonight, but you can add like potatoes and carrots in here as well. But all you have to do is pull your meat, pack it a little bit, but don't pack it too tight. And you just want it just right up to the neck of that jar where it starts narrowing down. You don't want to take up, you got to leave some air space, what they call head space in there. That's all we're going to do. We're going to sit here, we're going to pack those small jars, we're going to pack the bigger jars. Like I said, you don't want to add any water or any kind of liquid in here. As this cooks down, the meat's going to create its own liquid. That's all we're going to do right here until all of these jars are full, and then we'll get the lids put on them and get them in the pressure cooker. All right, guys, here's what we ended up with. We ended up with 10 regular mouth pints, 5 wide mouth pints, and then the 5 quarts behind it. I've got lid. The rings are laying here beside it for every jar that I need. Then I've got the rings over here in this water. We're going to let it come to a boil. I'm going to turn it off, and then we're going to put those lids on those jars. We're going to put the rings on them, but we're not going to over tighten them. Go ahead and put this Better Than Bouillon in it. All I'm going to do is open the lid. I'm just going to, on these pint size ones, I'm just going to come in here and do about a spoonful right into the top of it on each one. Try not to get any on the edges of the jars. You want your jar lids, edges of that jar to be clean. And then I won't show you all of them. I'll go just a little bit bigger of a heap and put into these pints. I'm sorry, quarts. Like I said, the potatoes and carrots, you can cut them up, put them in here right now with them. It's going to cook them down. You'll have your pot roast ready to go just whenever you want to eat it. This is going to cook all this meat. It's going to be ready to eat. Once we get done with this process tonight, every one of these jars will be cooked and ready to eat. It'll just need to be warmed up, so that's another plus. Getting this done, got these meals ready to go. Alright guys, all these lids have come almost to a boil, started bubbling. And all we're doing is softening up that rubber piece on the outside of that, and it sterilizes it as well. But I'll take a paper towel and clean the rim of that off, because that's where that seal is going to be. And then you'll just take and lay that lid right on top of that jar. Alright, got all of our lids laid on top of our jars now. Now all it's left to do is to get our rings. We're going to come in here and we're going to screw that ring down on that jar. Now you don't want to over tighten it, you just want it snug. If you over tighten it, you'll have broken jars when you go to open your canner up. So just put it on there finger tight, and then just a little bit of a snug, and that's gonna seal that. That's gonna seat that lid onto that jar. That's all we want to do. So I'm just gonna go through here and get these lids on all of them, and I'll see you guys over at the canner here in a minute. Anyway, all we're gonna do now is take our jars and put in our pressure cooker. We just got our jars ready to go. We're just gonna line the bottom with the Alright guys, there's our first layer. We got all those quarts in there. I'm just going to take this little rack. This is an American canner. We're going to take that rack and sit on top of that, and then we're going to take our other jars and fill it the rest of the way up. Alright guys, there's everything in that canner. Now we're just going to secure the lid on it. Let it start building pressure up. Just going to tighten it down all the way around and let it start building pressure up. Once it gets to 10 pounds and holds steady at 10 pounds of pressure, we're going to start a timer for 90 minutes. And after that 90 minutes, we'll have our meat ready to go. Alright guys, so I had the temperature just on mid to low heat till we got those jars on there. I just cranked it up. I want to get up the pressure. You've got a little weight that goes up here. And this weight is designed 5, 10, or 15 pounds, just depending on where you're at. Sea level wise, you'll need to go a little longer or more pounds of pressure. We're going to put it on the 10. We're going to set it right on there. Once that reaches 10 pounds of pressure, that's going to be a release. It'll sit there and it'll release, and it won't let it go above that 10 pounds. So we're just going to watch it here till it gets all the way to 10 pounds. Once it holds steady, we're going to start our clock for 90 minutes. Alright guys, it's been about 30 minutes. We're up to about 5 pounds of pressure now. Shouldn't take too long for it to climb on up there to 10. All we're going to do is regulate our temperature. We're going to keep it right at 10 pounds. Alright guys, it's only been about 5 minutes since we were at 5 pounds, and we're already climbed up. Look like about 8.5 right now. So I went ahead and turned. I've never done it on this stove before, so I don't know exactly where that medium's going to be, but I've turned the temperature down. Normally about halfway, half temperature is going to keep you at that 10 pounds pressure. I'll just keep a close eye on it. Once we reach 10 pounds, I'll keep an eye on it and figure out where that needs to be, and we'll start our timer. Alright guys, we're up to pressure, about 10 pounds. It should start kicking off. You can start to see a little bit of water pressure coming out of the bottom of that there. Had to turn up, ended up having to turn back up a little bit in temperature, because when I turned it down a while ago, it started dropping. So anyway, it's about 10:30 right now. It'll be midnight when this gets done. Alright guys, so we're done. It's midnight, exactly an hour and a half, 10 pounds of pressure. Steam's going off, got a little bit, about 11 pounds of what it's at, and that's why that pressure gauge is going off. You can see that steam coming out of it good now. All we're going to do is reach down here and turn the stove off. Guys, you don't want to ever try to pull that pressure gauge off. The steam will burn you, or take the lid off until it's completely back down to no pressure at all in the canner. Like I said, it's midnight now, so I'm going to bed. Got the alarm set for 5 o'clock. We're gonna go sit on the stand, see what we can see in the morning. Still got the traps to check, and then get everything pulled and packed up and head back to the house midday tomorrow sometime. But I'll check back in with you guys in the morning before we head out. We'll pull these out, look at them, and make sure, put a towel down here on the counter, set them out on a towel, and we'll watch them as we go throughout the day. Make sure those lids pop on them, they get sealed good. If all of them are sealed, it'll be good to go. Put them in the cupboard, put them in the shelf. No refrigeration, no freezer. Easy way to save space there, and an excellent meal, already cooked, ready to go. Just open the lid and heat it up and eat it. Anyway guys, that's going to be it. I'm tired, I wore out, I crawl in bed, and we'll see you in about 5 hours. Alright, good morning guys. There she sits, pressure's down. Still warm to the touch. We're just going to undo everything and open her up to see what we got. No, it looks like everything's in one piece. One big problem I've got whenever I'm pressure canning is, even knowing better, I over tighten those jars, not meaning to. It's just an issue that I have, and it's actually still bubbling inside a lot of these. You see that one there is still bubbling? You can tell, I mean, it's completely covered in that juice. Alright, that's gonna be it guys. That's gonna be our deer right there. All of our jars are canned, put up. Several of them are still bubbling inside. They'll cool off, and hopefully we got, what, 15 jars that are sealed up later this afternoon. But appreciate you guys watching, and this is all cooked, ready to eat. I mean, all you gotta do is pop the lid off and ready to go now. So it's a nice way to store the meat, and it doesn't have to be deer. I wanted a deer. You can do pork, chicken, just about any meat using this same process, and then just season it the way you want to season it. But anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next video.